Arnaud Desjardins started shooting films on the spiritual traditions of Asia in the 60s. His first documentary was on the ashrams of India. The images we see right now, it's the ashram of Arnaud Desjardins in France, Hauteville. Arnaud died in 2011, but the ashram is still alive now and we still receive many people there. This is Arnaud Desjardins. His office at Hauteville. And we see the image of Mahanandamayi, the great sage of India, and he says she was a wonderful being, one of the greatest beings he ever met. And we see her in India walking on a beach. It was dusk. And there was this very special atmosphere you always feel near a master, a spiritual teacher. Very simple, but there is something of a high quality when you are in the presence of those beings.
It was back in 1959, ashrams.
Yes, that's right. And now we see the Tibetans with the Dalai Lama, whom Arnaud met when he was very young. I mean the Dalai Lama. And here they are performing a ritual. This is Dujam Rinpoche. And the Karmapa. And Arnaud was the first one of the first Westerners to introduce Tibetan Buddhism in France. Khyentse Rinpoche. In fact, Arnaud had this huge opportunity of meeting the highest Tibetan teachers of this time. They had never been filmed. And he had got a special permission from the Dalai Lama for that. We are back at Hauteville, where Arnaud maybe is reading his daily mail. He was receiving a lot. And he was doing also a lot of private interviews with his students, as he had done with his own master, Swâmi Prajnânpad. Here is Kalu Rinpoche. Oh, it goes too quickly. Kangyo Rinpoche. When Arnaud met him, he had a very strong spiritual experience with him, like another state of consciousness. And the second time he came back to see this master, the master did as if he was asleep because he didn't want to repeat the experience, meaning that Arnaud had to do his own path and not only rely on those kind of experiences. And here is his teacher, Swâmi Prajnânpad, whom he met in 1965, and he stayed with him until his death in 1974, for 9 years. This is a small ashram of Swâmi Prajnânpad, Chana.
Yes, and we are here now.
Yes.
And now, thank you very much, Véronique Desjardins, for being here. I'm grateful to good company, very good company, and to Hermitage for allowing this beautiful meeting to happen.
And it's my pleasure also to be with you and to be in Romania. It's the first time I come to your country.
I hope for this land that will be only the first time and you will come back again. You are so rich in human meetings. So, and Arnaud Desjardins, the giant of universe of this world, I think we owe so much to him, and your destiny was to meet him.
Yes, in fact I met him when I was very young. In one evening there was a TV program, and my parents, I was 16 at that time.
16?
Yes, and my parents kept saying, come, see, this is quite exceptional. And I was kind of rebellious. And I said, I don't want to see the TV tonight, but please come. And that was my first encounter with him. And when I saw him on the screen, I just could feel there was something special with this man, that you could trust him, that he was in accordance with his words.
Do you remember what movie was on TV?
I'm not even sure. It could have been the message of the Tibetans. I don't know, but what I remember is a presentation when Arnaud was speaking with, maybe it was André Voisin, the interviewer.
16 years old.
Yes.
You felt that was something important there.
Yes, and then I was young and time passed by, and when I was 21, I started feeling I have to do something, I have to change, otherwise my life will be wasted. I could feel that very strongly, and I started looking for a spiritual path, so I made several trials, several experiences, and suddenly I remembered Arnaud and I wrote to him. And I had the great chance that it was at the very beginning of his teaching. In 1973, I was 21, as I told you, and he was just starting, having a few students, and I was part of them.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yes. So you find your teacher, age 21. What a chance!
Yeah. Usually, when we look so young, it's that there is suffering.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And what do you felt in his presence? So he was teaching what? About what?
Maybe I should remind the first time I saw him privately, because it's the way he had been taught himself with his teacher. Private interviews, and just to see, how you function and how you are kind of disconnected with real life. So little by little, he would bring Arnaud and the other students to real life. He had a formula which said, stand on the solid ground of facts. As you know, our mind is always wandering, and so the way to cut that is to come back to the reality. And so the first time I met Arnaud, I was myself in a very difficult situation, and he just let me talk, and he helped me see the whole of the situation. When we are in a situation, usually we only see small parts of it because we are focused on something which bothers us. And it just helped me to widen my perspective, and just simply asking questions like Socrates was doing. Did you see this aspect? And what about this aspect? And what about this? And little by little, I just saw things in an entirely new perspective. And when I had entered the room, I had in my mind a very strong decision. And after some time, at the end of the private interview, I just felt this was the wrong decision. And so it was how it started.
The real life. Yes, to be connected with facts, with your life, to better see. Oh. Those are the roots of spirituality, in fact.
Yeah.
to be connected, to negotiate with our daily problems.
Yes. The idea is to be more and more aware of what is going on outside and inside, because every event has an impact on us, but most of the time we don't notice it. So the idea is of developing more and more awareness and trying to be more and more in contact with reality, external reality, internal reality. And the big words of Swami Prajnânpad, his master, was to accept things as they are, and see, try to see reality as it is.
How can we better see the realities? All of us consider that we have wide open eyes, but still.
I'm not so sure we all consider we are wide open eyes. I think everyone can feel, I am suffering, I have those huge emotions, I cannot cope with them, you know, I have so many problems in my life. I don't see things, I'm not sure the first thing people think is that they live wide open and that they see things clearly. Everyone is more or less aware that we have a lot of projections and that especially the issues of our childhood are very alive in us, and we project that on reality. As you are a psychologist, I'm sure you will agree with that.
Yes.
So this was also part of our path, that there was a work on the unconscious mind, because Swami Prajnânpad had read Freud and Sigmund Freud, and he was very aware that the students he had, at some point there was some kind of blockage, obstacles in them, and they tried their best to understand what he was trying to convey, and he could see that it was beyond their possibilities. So he had this technique of they would lie down and he would just say, express what has been repressed. And they could, little by little, because they were with him, you know how important it is to be with someone who can accompany you in the darkness, in the suffering of your childhood. And little by little, the memories of the childhood would come back in a very impressive way. In fact, it was kind of a catharsis. But
you witnessed those kind of...
Yeah, I did. I practiced it myself, yes.
It was one-to-one, or the master with the disciple?
Master with this disciple, yes.
Disciple,
always, yes. And little by little, it frees a lot of energy which was blocked in your body, and it helps you to see things more clearly because you are less projecting on the present.
Yes, it's very, very interesting. It seems like psychoanalysis. So
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And just that it's not only talking from one person to one person, it's really giving the possibility to express, and you don't know what's coming, and your body can be shaking, and you can feel those very strong emotions like rage, despair, or fear, and just letting it come out.
So difficult to explore those negative emotions.
Yeah. So it's why you have to be with someone.
With someone. Yeah. Plus, if you feel some negative emotions connected to the person who is trying to hear you, this is very difficult to express.
No, it can only be done if there is a deep trust and confidence.
Yeah, yes. So this kind of setting was weekly basis, or how, once another?
It was, the path of Swami Prajnânpad was absolutely related to the person he had in front of him. He had no agenda, no program.
Yes.
So it depended on the person. And but usually he would alternate what they call the lyings, this psychological work, because it was done lying on a small mattress, and what he would call the sitting, as we are having a sitting right now, face to face. So there was a part with the totally free expression of the emotions, and then there was a part where your intelligence played a great part, trying to understand the past, trying to understand your background and all that.
So you met Swami Prajnânpad?
No, I didn't. He died in 1974, exactly when Arnaud started teaching. There was
in 1973 you met Arnaud?
Yes.
So after 1 year his master passed away?
Yes. The first year Arnaud was giving us the basis of the teaching, and the ashram, the first ashram opened in 1974.
The first ashram in France?
Yes.
Where exactly?
In Auvergne, in Le Bost. It's more or less in the center of France. In fact, when Arnaud decided, where should I settle in France? He took a map of France and he drew the diagonals, and there was a small part in the middle, and he started the researches here.
Yeah. So, little by little, you become his secretary, or?
No, in the beginning I was a disciple.
Yeah.
And then I think I was 33, I was living in Paris, and at some point I strongly felt if I want something to happen in my life, I have to go nearer from Arnaud. I have to be nearer from the ashram. I think everyone at some point feels that in his or her life, that you don't know why, but you feel I have to take this strange decision. And it's what I made.
To get mad, in effect. Yeah. A kind of madness.
Yeah, you don't know exactly why you do it, but you strongly feel I have to do it. And when I was settled near the ashram, there was a proposal that I could work in the ashram because someone had left her job. And so I entered, and I think it was 1.5 years after that, and Arnaud entered into my life as a man. That was the beginning of the other part of my relationship with him.
Yes. Wow. What remarkable changes in your life. So after 1 year, 1.5 years, and after you become the wife of
first companion, and 10 years later his wife.
Yes. So you was traveling with him. You was meeting with him personalities of the spiritual life, or you've met many masters.
First we met the Tibetan Masters, because in the first ashram of Arnaud they came, like Khyentse Rinpoche, the Karmapa. It was like this huge events. We were having the visit of these great masters.
So the Karmapa?
Yeah, the Karmapa came.
The 16th?
The 16th Karmapa, yeah.
Wow.
The one we saw in the picture earlier.
Yeah. So you've met the 16th Karmapa, for example?
Yes.
Living Buddha,
Yeah.
Because it is
it was very impressive.
Yeah, like the history of his way of dying in the States.
Yes, I've heard that it was kind of special moment.
Yes, his heart was warm after several days, and the medical team has no explanation about it.
Yeah, there are several stories about Tibetan Masters showing special signs after their deaths.
Those are facts, of course. Some people consider the those are not facts. There are because we cannot verify them. This is always the believer and no believer.
Yeah, I think there are many people who know that those facts are true, because there are so many, in the Tibetan culture, it's like kind of normal that a Tibetan teacher shows special signs after his death.
You doubt about those facts? You have witnessed some of them?
No, because I'm not of this tradition. I have not myself, but have heard, first-hand testimonies.
So your tradition, it is Arnaud tradition. It
yes.
Is,
Arnaud, Swâmi Prajnânpad. It's a lineage.
Yeah.
And it's very interesting that our lineage goes back to, in fact, a Tibetan master. If we, go to the great-great-grandfather, he was a Tibetan who instructed a Hindu disciple, and so at the beginning there was this link between Hinduism and Tibetan Buddhism in this tradition. And after all those years, Arnaud made films on the Tibetans.
Yeah. In fact, not only Tibetans, but also, I think he covered the diversity of the traditions.
Yeah, because Arnaud, since he was very young, it started when he was really a young boy. He always felt that it was painful for him to see the divisions between religions.
Yeah.
He was brought up as a Protestant, and he couldn't understand why there was such a war between the Protestant and the Catholics, and it lasted his whole life. Like all those traditions, they have something in common. Why should they fight? And they have
yes, the dark side.
Yeah.
Yeah. So with his movies and work, he tried to unify and to show us that
always bring a message of reconciliation and understanding. And the very interesting part is that in his ashram at Hauteville, he has built side-by-side sanctuaries. One is a Jewish sanctuary, the other one is a Christian sanctuary, and the third one is a mosque, small mosque, side by side. And we also have a Tibetan shrine. And it was a way for Arnaud to put into reality, into the concrete world, that those traditions should be united. In fact, they were at the very beginning, those three traditions, Jewish one, Christian one, and Muslim one. And
this is the very important image of unifying. This is the future world, the future of our world.
Yes, let's hope.
Ici et maintenant, à la rencontre de Maître Thaisen de Shimaru and the Zen, Buddhist Zen tradition, another important document, a movie. You've met Maître de Shimaru?
I have not really met him. I have seen him when the Karmapa came in Paris. He was received in a big hotel in the Sheraton, and there were many traditions attending the event, and the Thaisen de Shimaru was there, but I had no real encounter with him. But Arnaud had many stories with Thaisen de Shimaru because they were great friends. They made the films, the Buddhist films together in Japan, and they had really a very close connection.
Do you remember a piece of one story about their relationship?
Yes, there's just one coming. Thaisen de Shimaru, he was this very lively man And he would bring Arnaud to like bars in Tokyo and special places and geisha and all that. And he would just say to him, your Swamiji, your Swami Prajnânpad cannot do that. And you know, it was like giving something to Arnaud to make him more full, more complete. And so that, yeah, his path was... Arnaud was very open, you know. He always said that we should make experiences with, as you said, eyes wide open. And so he was, yeah.
Wow, what a story. And
yeah.
What
and there were other stories, like once... yeah, they were making a film in a Christian abbey in France, and Taizan Deshimaru was invited by the monks, and he had asked Arnaud, we will shoot a special sequence with you, and we shall, you will meditate in a Buddhist posture.
Zazen posture. Yeah.
Yes, and Arnaud said, okay. So he took the posture, and you know, you start with then they beat you here, so yeah. It wakes you up.
Waking stick,
yeah.
Yes, yes.
And so Arnaud received one shot, okay. And then they had to do it several times. And Taizan Deshimaru said, I want it to be authentic, so we don't repeat the sound. I will do it new each time. And so, you know, at the end of the hour, Arnaud had his... it was
very awakened.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, Taizan Deshimaru was the kind of master who could do things like that, you know, just kind of surprising things.
Very alive and
yeah.
Yes.
Push the heaven, push the heaven, push the sky.
L'impression que la tête tend vers le haut, pousse vers le ciel.
By the knees, push the earth, push the ground.
Et les genoux poussent la terre, le sol.
And no always.
Pas de contraction inutile, les épaules doivent être complètement relâchées.
And intestine, inside organ, down.
Et tous les muscles du ventre doivent être décontractés pour donner l'impression que les intestins pèsent vers le bas.
To posture, you can forget everything you can forget. So,
si on veut arrêter,
pass.
Si on se concentre complètement dans la posture, à ce moment-là, on peut laisser les pensées passer sans s'y arrêter.
We don't know about masters. We idealize them.
Yes.
But I remember what you said about spirituality and connecting Arnaud's words, facts, life, being in life. Yeah. And look, Taizan Deshimaru was teaching, in fact.
Yeah. What I could say from what I feel from authentic teachers is that they don't teach in a linear way. Of course, they have a teaching, they can express how the teaching, elaborate about the teaching. But when they are with the students, they have to teach one person at a very precise moment. And they can master the timing for the person, you know. There are times when you can say something to someone, and there are times when you cannot. I'm sure you know that as a psychologist. You have to be very aware, is it the right moment or not? And I think the teachers, they are kings of the timing for the person. They know when they can make a shock so that the disciple receives something, and they know when they have to wait. When it's a time of maturation for the disciple. In the beginning, you know, you have to be very careful with a disciple. It's like a baby disciple. And so you have to feed him and to be nice with him and, you know, always, be nice with him. And at some point, you cannot always be like a baby. You have to receive a stronger food. And the teacher starts showing more of the truth about yourself, and it can be like, So this is part of the disciples' work, to be able to receive what the guru can convey sometimes. So in the examples I gave of Taizen Deshimaru, it's a non-linear way of teaching, you know, taking Arnaud into a bar or having those shots on his shoulders or many other stories. It was just teaching him in daily life.
Yes. Zen, it's practicing daily life.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But not only Zen. You've met...
Practicing all traditions, in fact.
All traditions. So, do you have some other important master who touch your heart and your way of being? You've met many of them, I think.
Before I met Arnaud when I was 21, I was in India for 3 months, and I met a Tibetan master. His name was Tupten Yeshe. And he made a strong impression on me. He was from the Gelugpa, the tradition of the Dalai Lama.
Yeah.
And
you was 20?
I was 21. I met Arnaud at the end of the year.
Yeah.
And I remember he was always, you know, when he was with someone, he was always saying, thank you, thank you. And you could feel, I am someone important in his eyes. And I also think it's something that teachers do with you, is that they fully respect you. For the first time you feel that you are totally seen by someone and acknowledged in the deepest part of yourself. I mean, not the surface of yourself, because the surface of yourself, you always have the experience that people react to that. And you react to the surface of people. But the teachers, they see you in your essence, your deeper reality. And this is the first time we are seen in such a light, and they believe in you. They believe in your potential, they believe in your capacity to grow, to, you know, like a tree which will grow little by little. So this is what we receive. We receive an incredible love, acceptation of who we are, and in this deep acceptation we can start opening and growing up and changing little by little.
In your life, you was feeded with this kind of respect and love.
Yes.
As all human beings, we have some inner voices who are criticizing ourselves. So
that's our drama.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yes.
Yeah.
We are sinners. We have.
Yeah, this is our Judeo-Christian tradition. Yeah.
So, after meeting those people, masters, I don't know, what was happening about your inner critical voice?
Well, it stays active very long.
Yeah.
I think the hate of oneself is something which is very spread in the Western culture.
In the Western especially?
Yeah. Because you know, when the Dalai Lama started to be in contact with Westerners, there was a meeting, and so someone was trying to translate to the Dalai Lama that someone didn't like himself, and the Dalai Lama couldn't understand because it doesn't exist in their culture. It's a very strong story, and so I think it really comes from our background, and we have internalized this voice. And it's true that we are criticizing ourselves a lot. And it's like being divided with yourself, and it's not happy.
So
it doesn't create happiness.
Put it in Freud's word, the super ego, so all the law, the inside law.
You should do this, you should do that.
This is European culture, this is specific to the West, to the West and only to the West. This is very interesting, and it could be an anthropological fact in a way. Yeah, to accept ourselves. So our Western culture is based on dividing the world, but starting from dividing ourselves.
Yeah. The big division is inside of ourselves.
Yeah, but you succeeded to reunify yourself. And you began also to work in the publishing.
May I cut you?
Please, please divide. Yeah.
I'm free.
Of course.
I wouldn't say I am working on myself as hard as I can, but I am work in progress.
Yeah.
I feel I have a lot of work to do. It's huge when you start looking into yourself, trying to see clearly how you function internally, how you behave. It's a program of a whole life. So I'm sorry, I couldn't say, now I am on the other side, I am no longer divided. Not at all. I'm working every day.
Thank you.
Even with this criticizing voice inside, I can just see, what are you doing?
Lifetime process.
Oh yeah,
the conflict
process.
It is connected with living in. We cannot live without opposites and inner opposites.
Yeah, but we are supposed little by little to come to a reconciliation, internal and external.
This is serenity, maybe.
Yeah, serenity, equanimity.
And
stability, strength. We could use many words.
Yes. You're an author and an editor.
Yes.
Starting from what point of your life?
I started writing when I was 29 because I had sent to Arnaud many passages I have found in many traditions showing that this acceptation, which is the core of our past, was in fact in all the traditions. And at some point he said, it's very interesting, why don't you make a book out of it? So I made a book.
Your first book?
Yeah, it was my first book.
The title was?
Anthologie de la non-dualité.
Anthologie de la non-dualité.
Wow.
Yes,
showing non-duality. Non-duality could be another word for reconciling. Not being two, not being divided. It's an aspect of it, of course. And then I made 3 other books. Another one on spiritual matters, and then I tried to become a more mundane author, but it seems it doesn't work so well. So I wrote short stories, and the last book I made was on the death of my mother, the very last days, because she died in a very inspiring way for me. She wanted to die consciously, and accepting her death, and so.
To die consciously?
Yeah. It was very important for her. She was a disciple of Arnaud also.
Your mother?
Yeah.
How can one die consciously? we all have to experience our death, so...
Yeah, I think it's frightening for everyone. It's frightening because we know we will have to lose everything, and we go and we don't know where we go. And we go alone, we go totally alone. So there is this great fear of the being alone and the unknown. And I was inspired by the way my mother wanted to embrace her last days. And it doesn't mean that she didn't go through fear and even terror one night. I was staying with her and she went through terror. And the next morning she emerged from it. But I think we will, I don't know how you feel about that, but I think at some point when we will be there, there will certainly be fear. And we will have to cross it.
Your mother tried to practice.
Oh yes, until the very last moment.
So in their last moments, she was trying to be there, to be present,
yes,
and to speak with you. He
oh
was
yeah,
able.
We had, you know, those very. When someone is dying, you know, you cannot lie anymore, and we had those closeness, very memories coming from the past and all that. She said things to me she had never said before, but you know, it's kind of common when you die. There is like an opening.
Wow. And what it is the deepest lesson for each one of us to see our beloved parents dying, and yes, the last minute, the last second, the last breath.
I was not there at the last breath of my mother. She died during the night. And we had said goodbye just the day before. I was there when Arnaud died.
What powerful.
Yeah, it was a very powerful moment.
It's difficult to continue to speak after imagining those powerful, to see your master dying and husband dying. I know that this is one of the last gifts that a master can give to a disciple, the master's death.
Yeah, in fact he had been in the hospital for 3 weeks. He was 86 and he had undergone surgery, and we thought he would recover. And little by little, you know, there was one complication after the other. And I am very grateful because the doctors said to me, you should prepare to lose him. You should be prepared to lose him. At his age, he will not recover now. We can feel it. And I was just, you know, saying, yes, I'm ready to let him go. But I thought, he has a strong body, you know, Arnaud was a strong man. And they don't know, and he can recover. You know, you are on two levels. There is one where you say, I am okay if he dies. And there is this other level which is not ready. So we had, and I say we because all the disciples of Arnaud knew that he was in the hospital. And they just were turned towards him, you know, like not knowing what the issue would be and hoping that he would recover. And it was very strong for a lot of people. And so he went through a lot of physical pain during those 3 weeks. And the last day was like, when he died in the evening, it was extremely peaceful. There was his son, Emmanuel. I was on the other side of the bed, and we could just be with him. And it was a very peaceful moment, quite in contrast with those 3 weeks of pain and suffering and uncertainty. So this is a good memory for me, It's just seeing. Of course, afterwards there comes the grieving process, and this is quite different subject matter, but I have good memory of his death.
Yeah.
And I'm sure his son Emmanuel has one, and yeah, it was a great moment.
Why we are here then?
On this earth,
Yes. To witness even dying, to witness life, to try to reconcile.
this is my conviction. I don't know if you share it. I think we are here to learn something. I could even say we each come with a special problematic, different for each one, and we have to work through it. And it's not, you know, like when you have a problem in life, you solve the problem. It's like it concerns your whole life, since you are born until you die. And it's like a challenge. Will you solve your problematic during your life? Which is always the biggest obstacles to love, in fact. But it's different for each one.
Biggest obstacle to love.
Yeah.
Your problematic, your problem.
I mean for everyone. It's my way of seeing it, you know. I think that we came into this world in a state of non-separation.
Yeah.
When you see small children, they are just, you know, like, if they have not yet been traumatized, you can see they are full, they are entire, they are in their own being, and then comes the traumas we all,
Traumas,
okay?
yes.
We all have in our childhood, more or less, and little by little we are cut from this non-separation. We become separated from the all, from the universe, from God, whatever you want to call it.
Identity, ego. Yeah.
Yeah, ego starts, you know, ego it's becoming me, and what is not me. That's a huge separation. This little me in front of this huge universe. But it's not how we came into this world. We came unified, undivided, and the division came. And so I think we have to, that's our great task in this life. How can we reconnect to what we have lost?
To reconnect.
Yeah, to this undivided state. And this undivided state is permeated with love. And
after the death, we cannot, we never know until we experience. But do you imagine, do you believe to be previous life and future life? What about our identity? What about
I believe there is a continuity. I believe we come from somewhere, we go somewhere else, and it's a long-term process, so you can call it previous life.
And who is we? Who is myself then?
I don't think, you know, it's always Matei or Veronique who go from life to life. I don't think it's like a solid entity. It's in the Buddhist traditions and all the traditions, they don't believe that, you know, it's like individuality, always the same. No, because it evolves, and it's the essence, something more essential than what we know from ourselves.
So the ego will die, this is for sure.
Yeah, but they said that the strongest desire is what
remains,
and it's why you reincarnate. That's the theory.
The theory, yeah. We will find out.
When we are there.
Yes, the game of life. You've met some masters, important masters, teaching beyond words, in fact. This is what you are saying, even about Arnaud, accepting the acceptance. This is beyond words. Because we are reading lots of books, lots of theories, but still we remain stuck in our condition. So how can one be changed? What is the point, the possibility when one can change?
The first thing is to know ourselves. So start looking at ourselves. Start looking at what is going on inside. The thinking process, the emotional process. What do I feel? What do I feel?
So to sit and not to look on television, for example, to look to the inner television.
No, you can do whatever you want. You can look on TV and all that, but I mean, in daily life, just noticing what's going on in you. You know, when, for example, when I entered the studio,
even here, right now,
so I could feel I was kind of shy, you know, I'm not used to television and all that. So just be there, feel what you feel, and be in contact with what you feel, and noticing the changes in you, but doing it in a loving way. So that's the difficult part, because we can observe many things in ourselves, but if we observe them with the judge in us, what you call the superego, you shouldn't, oh, you are doing this, it's not good. That's of no use. It's just loving attitude, what the Tibetans call enter into friendship with yourself.
Friendship with yourself.
Yeah, it's a beautiful expression.
Yeah.
Enter into friendship with yourself. Meaning, have a love for this person you discover you are. If there are some parts of ourselves with which we disconnect, it's because we don't love them. So we have to be far from them. But if we can accept what we are, if we can understand that we are not responsible for this unconscious part which manifests itself in daily life, and we have strong reactions, and we are not adequate, and we have a kind of inadequacy, and we can just say, okay, that's the way I am right now. I can change little by little, but I have to be kind with myself. In order to observe myself, I have to be kind, I have to be comprehensive, exactly as a teacher is with you. A teacher is not acting with you as a superego, it's just relating to the reality of a human being who tries his best. And we can change through this love. Unconditional love we receive from a teacher, or maybe a therapist, but unconditional love is more on the part of teachers.
You receive, you felt, you have experienced the unconditional love.
Everyone who meets an authentic teacher can experience it.
Unconditional love. But still, we are putting conditions. We are putting conditions.
Oh yeah. We as human beings, when we are in our relationships with people, we put a lot of conditions. I will love you if you are kind with me, if you don't aggress me, if you respond to my expectations.
So unconditional love. This means that, for example, if you
it's the end of the path. It's not the beginning, and it's not the path itself. It's really it's where we are going, but we will have to see how difficult it is for us to stay in love.
Yes. Hate is contagious. So if, for example, you would have told me that, oh, you are I don't like you. Yeah? It is difficult for me to say, okay, you don't like me, I love you.
Yeah, it's, I would say it's impossible, but we can do something. It's to notice that when the person says that, there is a contraction and we close ourselves. That's self-observation. And be kind to this part of us which needs to close. You know, it's like a hoster. When you put lemon on it, it cannot do otherwise than retracting, and it's what we do. And so that's a self-observation, to see how sometimes we can open and other times we withdraw, and respect this withdrawal. Arnaud had a nice expression. He said, accept your closed heart.
Accept your closed heart.
Yes. Because
not only the open heart, of course, this is simple.
No, accept your closed heart. Because usually we tend to be very violent with ourselves. Our heart closes and we think it should be open. You should be open. And it's not like that. If the heart closes, it has reasons which belong to our personal stories or wounds of childhood or whatever you want. And so the best way is, okay, just to accept. I feel closed. I have anger towards this person. Yes, this is my reality. Right now doesn't mean that I will stay always like that, but this is my reality. It's only through accepting ourselves that a real change can happen.
This is the perfect thought for concluding our meeting, and hope we'll do it again in the future.
Yeah, it was
Thank you
nice
again,
to be with
Veronique.
Thank you.
Thank you for bringing here Arnaud and all your life. Thank you.